Welcome back to Small Seed Big Impact, the podcast. Week 7. Lucky number 7. Isn't 7 a blessed number?
Yes.
Oh, and this week we're talking about what it's like to work with the person who you love so much. We're going to be talking about...
Myself?
Yeah. I mean, you do only work with yourself, so it's pretty accurate. It's a pretty accurate definition of who you work with. This is a question we actually get a lot. People always ask us about what it's like to work together, or like, what's it like working with your husband? What's it like working with your wife? Don't you feel like people ask you that a lot? Or really people don't ask you that a lot? That's a question every time we put up like a Q&A.
Small seed gets asked a lot.
Small seed gets asked a lot. And even I get asked a lot, like, when, if I tell somebody, oh, me and my husband work together, someone's like, oh, how's that? Or they'll be like, oh, how do you like working with your husband?
Is that because most wives hate their husbands?
No, I think it's just like an interesting dynamic. I think most husbands wouldn't work with their wives.
Or most
wives wouldn't work with their husbands.
I was curious.
But I do think a lot of women who start their own business, when you're married, the husband, from all of the like women that I know who have started their own businesses who were married, who were either A, in a relationship or just married when they like started the business, their husbands all help. Like, whether they're actually legitimately part of the business like me and you doesn't necessarily happen often, but I would say often the husband helps in some type of like realm, in some type of way. Whether that's like helping like package the product or something like that, or doing something, bringing them to the post office, something like that. Like, it may not be like fully like hands-on in the project itself, but like the husband does help in a way. I feel like it's in a man's nature to want to be like, let me help you.
Or it's a woman's nature to be like,
lean
you
on
must
their,
help me.
Yeah, to lean on their husband, like, help me.
I was just thinking in my head, I was like, is that because of like incompetence?
What?
Like,
women's
like
incompetence?
Yeah.
That's some disrespect.
It was just a question I had in my head.
No.
Well, men are the opposite.
I think a man wants to help. Like, I think most men want to help. Oh, before we really go into this, guys, check out my new sweatshirt, Small Seed Bar. Quick plug. We're gonna be doing some sweatshirts and shirts and maybe other things this year. We're gonna be trying to put out a little bit more like, what is this called? Merch. There we go. We're gonna be putting out more merch. So if you haven't seen our post yet, go vote on our post, because we're gonna be making these soon, and it's a tie right now. So either we're gonna make 2 sweatshirts, 1 sweatshirt and 1 shirt, or something, but we're gonna start with like small runs, and then we're be doing bigger runs depending on like what designs are most popular or what colors people like best or different things like that. So I got lots of compliments on my Small Seed sweatshirt. And something else that's pretty exciting that I do have to say, I never wear Small Seed things walking around. Like, we have a lot of like our Small Seed shirts that don't necessarily say Small Seed on them.
It's not like it's not bold.
No, it's not.
Like that.
Yeah, it's
like
very
loud.
It's like our Plants Save Lives, or it's like Let Us Choose Kindness. Like, they're like our old Small Seed shirts. So it's like, I do wear those around, but they don't say Small Seed on them. But I've been wearing this, and like the 2 times I wore it out, people were like, oh my gosh, Small Seed Bar, I love Small Seed Bar. Just like at totally random places. So I'm like, woohoo, thanks guys. Makes me feel like happy. I feel like we're like really in this community.
We're getting there.
Thanks guys. Just want to say that real quick.
Nice.
I was like, oh yeah, I would just put my hands on my sweatshirt. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm wearing my new sweatshirt. Gotta do a quick plug for the Small Seed Bar sweatshirt.
Why'd you choose tan?
I love this color.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, so...
I was just curious. I figured you'd take like green or something.
No.
Or that like mauve, purpley pink you've been doing.
I know, but like I feel like this is a neutral color. It was either going to be black or this color. Actually, I wanted to do white, but my white sweatshirt gets so grimy. So I was like, off-white. I've been choosing like off-white things lately. And like this was the off-white color, was like a tan. So I was like, this is best, because I can still wash it with black.
You got a pair of Tims, you rock it all, New York style.
What's the hood like? Is it a pointy one?
No.
Or is it like a rounded one? It's a weird one. He said it's kind of weird.
It's just way too
big.
Like
a deep
it's too big for your head.
Yeah, it's a really deep hood.
You have a small head.
I mean, it's true.
Imagine, it fits your body, but I meant like...
no,
like,
my head,
compared to other humans, your head is small.
My head is small. Like, I think it is, like...
Yes.
Even on like, a shape-wise, like, your head's really... You got, like, a deep, like, cone, like...
Well, I'm also way bigger than you.
You have, like, a width to your head. Mine is, like...
Circumference?
Yeah.
I was going to say, you're very small.
Yeah.
But you're just a small person, so...
More petite.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yes. So, hoodies, crew necks, Zip-ups are already out, even though I know that's Jane's favorite, zip-ups, but nobody likes zip-ups, so just kidding. Very few people like zip-ups. More people like
the best
hoodies or
kind,
crew.
that's why.
Most people like crew, but hoodie and crew is very close. So I'm usually a crew neck girl, except lately I've been into hoodies again. Like, hoodies were my favorite back in the day, and then I got into crews, and then I only wore crews forever, and now I'm like getting back into hoodies again. But I'll make a crew and wear a crew.
It's about to be summer and 100 degrees.
True. That's why I want to make t-shirts too, but everywhere else in the world besides the South is still like cool until April or May. Like, think about like when we lived in Massachusetts. It was still cool. It was still cool. Literally until I feel like
for your normies.
April would be like still kind of cool depending, you know? It'd be warming up, but like you'd wear a sweatshirt at night or in like...
Not me.
What would you wear?
A shirt.
Oh, what?
Shirt.
Oh, no sweatshirt? Well... If you live somewhere where it's still snowy and cold, you would probably wear a sweatshirt until... Honestly, you wear a sweatshirt all the time, actually. You would wear a sweatshirt at night because it still gets cool at night. It does. It gets cooler at night, so you're wearing a sweatshirt.
Next.
All right, next. Back to the original... Sorry. Back to the original topic, yeah. So, what were you saying about wives, husbands, and wives?
No, you were just saying how husbands always end up working.
Yeah.
You're assuming they want to help.
Or, I mean, yeah, I think they do want to help. Is that not why you originally started helping me?
Well, I don't think I'm the normal human, first of all.
Okay. But...
I don't know.
Then what's your reason for
no idea.
for originally, like,
I can't even remember.
Putting yourself into small seeds?
It's been so long.
Because it's not like I asked you. Like, you started helping me.
Sure, because you needed it.
You thought the same way you think I can't build things. You're like, let me just do it for you.
You can't build.
I literally can. I did before I ever knew you.
You successfully built like 2 things.
You don't ever let me build anything. That's why.
There's a reason.
I can't build things. I told you I'm becoming incompetent because I literally haven't built things in like 10 years. That's why I've only built like 2 things in 10 years.
You're not becoming incompetent. You were always incompetent when it came to building furniture specifically.
I can follow directions, okay?
But you don't. That's why. That's why you don't build it. Anyone can build anything if they read the directions.
And I do read
the directions. You're like, whatever, I can just skip 3 steps.
I mean, I just like look to see where I assume the pegs go and stuff like that. But I can still put it together. It eventually gets there. It gets built. And now you don't let me build anything, so...
Did you build that table downstairs? That I had to come finish?
Yeah, those screws... Because I put the screws in the wrong spot.
Exactly, because you don't read the directions.
I did. Those screws were confusing. Also, like, they were just pictures. How was I supposed to know what screw was what? They were... All the screws looked the exact same.
Well, how come when I built the second table, I knew?
Because you knew.
Oh.
I don't. Because I don't build anything. Because
Sure.
you don't let me build anything.
Sure.
This is why he helped me, because he thinks I'm incompetent. But I can figure things out.
I don't remember when... Originally, all I did was help you set up your license at first. And then, like, I already did all that stuff in business, so I just helped you get set up.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is everything we need, like, just go buy it. I helped you set up your license, helped you set up your permits, like your health permits.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think I just came with you because you needed a second person at the booth. You know, not like I was helping you make bars. And then eventually it became busier.
Oh yeah, I did ask you to come. You're right. I did ask you to come with me to the booth. I was
because 2 people. You need a person. I think everyone who has a booth should have a handler and a face, more or less.
Yeah, someone who can like talk to the customer, and the other person who's like packaging orders or whatever.
Because you need a person who's selling, which is usually the face, and then someone behind the scenes just moving.
Yeah, like doing the change and stuff like that. True, I did ask you to
come packaging bars, giving out products.
But I'm talking about actually started making the product.
You just running out of time.
I think you just started. I think one of the times you were like, you can come to the kitchen, and I was like, okay, and then you just started helping me there. To your kitchen. Mm-hmm. I think that's what happened. I don't remember either, but most husbands do want to help their wives. So whatever the reason behind it is, they still do usually help their wives.
Sure.
I don't think wives usually input themselves into their husband's businesses as much as a man would want to help his wife. You know?
You're still assuming that he wants to. Anyway,
if he is a good husband, he does want to.
Sure. There's not many of those. I think women don't often help men because men are too stubborn to ask for help from anyone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. I think women ask for help. And then, therefore, the man helps. A man just will never ask for help. And that's why he does it all on himself. Yeah.
Or he just has other, business partners that he goes into business with.
Sure, I just meant like if I was just saying if it's a single person.
Yeah.
Like if it was just me doing one thing, I would just do it until I die.
But however, when you bring your wife into business, she usually launches a business out of this universe. Because she either becomes a face, she organizes it, she somehow makes it better. So I know I'm not the organizer, you're the organizer in this relationship. Don't be trying to look at me like that.
I was like, I don't know any women in my close proximity in my life that could organize anything.
Oh, really? My mom's pretty organized. Wicked organized. Really. Why are you trying to look at me like that? Think about, like, she literally has everything. My whole childhood was, like, scheduled to the T.
Well, I wasn't around when she was like that.
Scheduled.
I wasn't around when she was like that. I came into a life where everything was very loose for all of you.
Yeah, like...
Including your mom.
Like, easier.
Like, no schedule.
Yeah.
Which would just blew my mind.
I mean, no, I think that's why I like no schedule now, because I'm so scheduled as a child. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I am personally not super organized, and you are the organized person, but I think as a female trait, that's usually a thing. Like, women are usually more organized than men.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
I think on a general sexist level, what's it called?
I just think there's
a stereotype.
Like type A and type B personalities.
Stereotype.
I feel like more men
What do you think you are?
Well, you already told me I'm type A, so.
Yeah, you are. What do you think I am?
Is there a Y? An N? No, I don't know. I don't know these things. I don't actually care. Like when it comes to that stuff, I don't pay attention to those things. Like labels.
All right, but honestly, this is one of the reasons why working together, why the topic of our podcast today, us working together, has been such a learning curve for us. Because we're such different people.
And why everyone's always amazed that we work together.
Yeah. Even like once they get to know us, like on a personal level.
I think especially once they get to know us.
Yeah, they're like, what? How are you guys like together?
Why are you,
like,
why are you together? Never mind. Why do you?
How do you have a business together? Yeah, like what? How does this work? I don't understand. Because we're like legitimately opposites in everything. Everything.
Not a single thing.
No, nothing. Not the way we hold our. Not the pencil we choose. Nothing. Like not the way we decide to serve dinner. Like there's not a single thing. It's so funny to the point where like. When you do something and I'm like, I would just never, like, even still to this day, like, I'll see you do something and I'm just like, I would just never do it that way. Like, like, it could be something so small, you know what I mean? Or something bigger, but, like, something so small, I'm just like, I just wouldn't do that way.
That's because my way's better.
No.
Yes.
You think your way's better.
It's 100% better.
It's not better. It's just your way. In some ways your way is better, but in some ways my way is better, and in some ways it doesn't matter whose way is better as long as it gets done.
No, it always matters.
Not if it's just getting done. All right, but listen, what is it like working? What is it like working together? What's it like working with your partner?
No,
with your wife?
It's better now.
It's so much better now.
It used to be real bad.
It was really hard at first.
Yeah. What's it like working with? First of all,
I'll say this. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
No, it's fine.
Just do it.
No,
what are you gonna say? First of all, what?
I was just talking about just working for yourself with your family. Period. Is that it just never turns off.
Yeah.
Which is probably the most challenging part.
For sure. I think like if you had a different business partner, you would go to your home, and your home would be like a place of peace, or like a place of like. Where it necessarily wasn't talked about.
Right, like even if it's still in your mind, it's not an atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. But it really is like for us, it's like 24/7.
Yes.
It's like we don't turn it off though either. It's just like
because we can't.
It's a constant. Yeah, exactly. Also, I think it's also different when it's like you both of your main sources of income.
For sure.
Because then it's like it's everything.
It's the stress.
Yeah, it's everything. It's like that's how you pay your bills. That's how you make sure you have food on your table. That's also, like, do we have enough time? Are we wasting our time? Not wasting our time, but, like, are we using our time efficiently? Because it's, like, especially with just the two of us, which it is, just the two of us right now. So every, like, minute matters when we need to be, like, super productive.
It's been just two of us for, like, 8 years.
I know. Yeah. It's been just
for clarity.
Yeah. It's always been just two of us.
Like, say now, like, we're like, oh, yeah, you probably just started, and now I'm like, we've been doing this for 8 years.
And it's literally been just us. I'll say this. When we first started Small Seed, we were really good. Like, we worked good together because you were kind of like, you helped, but not so much. And then even like before, I'm talking about before we had kids, I think the stress and structure of adding like a third and then fourth person into the like rotation of things and going from like, okay, we're a married couple and we're business partners to like we're parents, business partners, and a married couple. You know what I mean? Yeah. That dynamic was like a really hard transition because we never had like necessarily had like issues when we were just like before we had kids.
Sure.
We never had like a stress before there was kids. The stress was there. I mean, a stress on like the relationship itself. Because I think what a lot of people like don't realize is just like, yeah, like you don't turn off. And it is like the stress of the business bleeds into the stress of like your marriage, yes. You know? And then like, depending on how well, which we're not, now we're much better, but at first we were not like great at communicating that. So then like resentment builds up. Because like one person's doing one thing, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, it becomes really difficult. So I feel like if there's not clear roles for what each person does, and you're like expecting a person to do something, but they don't know that that's their role or vice versa, then that's also when things become like really difficult. You know, I feel like what like established us, what got us to like a much better place is when we're like, okay, this is your job, this is what you do. I'm going to assume that when it falls into your bucket, you're getting it done. And then like same with you. So I don't have to be checking on you. I don't have to be, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I think that's what made us better, but I think it was just getting to that point where you could participate more is actually what made us better.
In the business?
Yeah. And that's when the rules came in.
The rules.
The rules.
Rules?
The rules for the
or
roles.
Roll.
No, the rules of this is yours, this is mine.
Yeah.
For the roles. Because you're calling them roles. But for me, they're parameters.
Yeah.
This is your box, this is your box. This is what you must do, this is what you must. These are just rules for me.
Yeah.
They're descriptions, they're job descriptions, whatever.
Yes, exactly.
But I actually think that was implemented when you finally came back.
Yeah.
And then you not being there is what actually caused the biggest rift.
Because it was like my business that you were like helping with.
Yes.
And then became our business, and then became your business.
While you were out of commission.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think the transition into like parenthood, into like motherhood, was like really hard. Being like, okay, now we're mom, business owners, and husband and wife. You know, or parents, business owners, husband and wife. I think that was like the hardest transition. But yeah, what do you think it's like working together? On like this is the thing also, we actually don't work together. We don't work together.
Right.
Like we work together. We're the only two employees technically of our business that we own together.
We'll say operators.
We're the only two operators?
Yeah.
Of the business.
We operate the business.
Yeah. That we own together, but we don't actually do work together. That's why it's funny, because like now that the machine is, that once we get the machine like up and running, but even like the couple times like we've done the machine, it's like we're working together, literally together again, which we haven't done in 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years?
Yeah.
And even before that, we only worked together 1 day a week.
Yeah.
And that was like, still sometimes we wouldn't, you know, but it would be like, 1 day a week for a couple hours, like 4 hours, or 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever. So it's like, I think sometimes people think like we work together, like they're like, oh, you guys like do it together, and I'm like, no, I actually don't see my husband all day long. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see you because you're in the kitchen.
We do separate, yeah.
Yeah, we do totally separate jobs. Like, you don't see me when I work in here and I'm doing like marketing stuff. Like, you don't see me. Like, I'm doing my own thing in my own space. You're doing your own thing in your own space. And like, what we do like blends together, it weaves together, it needs each other. Like, they both need each other. But what we do is completely separate from each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting when they like mash back together.
Yeah,
if they ever do.
Be so short.
If they ever do, yeah. Well, I'm saying if they ever do. Like once, I guess you're always going to run like operations, so you'll always be like down in that place. Or you'll be like in the manufacturing facility.
More
and you'll
of
be,
like, like we work together. When we work together now, it's more of talking about what we need to do.
Yeah,
like setting things up for
sure. We always, we always have like that's what I'm saying. We don't turn off.
We essentially have meetings.
Yeah, yes,
with each other.
Exactly. We just have meetings of like, what are we doing? What's going on? When are we launching a new flavor? Yeah. But like usually it's like one person's bringing it, and the other person's like, okay, this is what I need to do for that. It's like you're like, okay, we're gonna be launching chocolate cherry on this day, and I'm like, okay, I need to what things do I need to do? Or I need to personally put it up on the website. I need to take the pictures. I need to get the email blast ready. And it's like that. Or it's like, I'm going to be doing XYZ. And you're like, okay, I need to do this for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, like, we still do have, like, but then we do come together and we're like, okay, let's like brainstorm on ways that we can be doing X, Y, Z. That is how we work together. You're right. It's more like brainstorm sessions and meetings than actual
it's like if you had upper management at a normal company and everyone had their own department, but like once a week, everyone comes together for a meeting, like this is what we're doing this week, but we just do that every day.
At the end of
more
every
or less.
day. Yeah.
Sometimes in the beginning, sometimes in interim, like randomly.
Yeah. Like if I have an idea, I'll like come in and be like, hey, like this is what I'm thinking, or same with you, like this is my thought.
Like the other day when I was working out.
Did I come into you?
Is that the chocolate cherry one?
Oh.
The post.
I think, yeah.
I think I was working out.
Yeah, you were. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. You're like, okay. I was like, I was thinking
about stuff like that.
I was like, I'm thinking about doing this. You're like, okay, do it. I'm like, all right. Sure. Yeah. But, yeah, it's funny because I feel like it's really hard, but once we established those rules for our roles, it became much better. Because each of us are like, we kind of hold the other person accountable to make sure that your job is getting done in a way, but we also know, like, in order for me to get my job done, you have to be able to get your job done. Or same, like goes both ways, you know. Like they lean heavily on each other for the other person to be showing up the way that they need to.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, it's gonna be like, yeah.
Apparently, I'm not great to work with.
No, you are. I think you're good to work with. I always think, like, it's so funny because I always hear people talking about, oh, what makes a good boss? What makes a good this, good that? And it's like you. I always think of you. I'm like, you're a way better boss than I'm ever going to be.
I've also had a lot more experience.
Yeah. But, like, you're also just that type of person.
For sure. Like,
I think you're going to be the person, like, I have a much harder time in, like, I don't know how to describe it, just, like, being, like, maybe... Assertive, or like, is that the right word? Like, I don't even know. Like, I think I'm just like, I'm like on my own flow, you know? And I have a really hard time like bringing people into my flow, if that makes sense. So I think you're really
organizing.
Good. Yeah. Goes back to organizing. I'm just not good. Not good at organizing, not good at like I'm just not really great at like bringing other people like onto my boat, you know? Like I'm on my own boat and I'm like, I can like tell you things to do, but like I have a really hard time when my boat's like, okay, 3 people are on your boat and like, we're all working together on the same project or something. I'm like, no, it's mine, and I'll just do it from I'll do it from A to Z. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not really good at like
dictating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're really good at it, and I feel like you're really good at meeting people where they are. Like I think what makes like a really good boss is being able to talk to someone in their own language, and I mean you do it to me too. Like me and you are so different, but you're able to like communicate things like effectively to me, so that like. It works for me, you know what I mean?
To understand it.
Yeah. And I don't feel like like even if it's like what would be like a criticism or a feedback or something like that. It's like a way that's not like someone doesn't feel like criticized or they don't feel like bad about it. They're just like, oh, okay. You're like, how can we be doing this better? You know?
Right.
Rather than like, you suck. This is what you need to do.
You suck.
You know?
Do better.
No, like I feel like it's hard to find a good boss. I have worked many jobs in my life.
I just think, yeah.
And I think a lot of people they're either too like they don't like the conflict, they don't want to like have the hard conversations, and they don't know how to have those hard conversations. So it just becomes awkward, or they just like they're like resentful towards you or something because you're not doing something that you're supposedly supposed to be doing, but you don't even know, type of thing. Or they're just not a good boss. Like, you know, they only talk to you in one way. It's like teachers. Like, you only teach in one way.
For
it's
sure.
Like, well, everybody learns in a million different ways. You have to be able to say 2 + 2 in a million different ways. Like, show me visually, like, you know what I mean? Like, all these different things, but a lot of teachers are just like one way. And I feel like that's a lot of bosses too. They're like, it's my way, and if you don't fall into it, then like you're just an idiot.
Yeah, I think most people are put into positions that they don't deserve.
For
management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or ownership, or whatever you want to call it.
I think people think they want to go into management. So they work hard. Maybe they've worked hard that they like deserve the position of management, right? But then they go into management and they realize how much they actually hate management. Because it's a certain type of person who's really good at managing people.
Sure.
Like, that's a very small percentage of people who is good at managing people.
Yeah.
And making their team like really efficient and making their team all feel like good about what they're doing. You know?
It's very sad.
Yeah, it is. Because I think a lot of people are led by people who are just not meant for those positions. And I think people want those positions too because they want to like flex power, but it's like, I mean, if
they're entitled. They think they earned that hierarchy, and that's just, in my opinion, that's not how it works. Like, just because you're a great waiter, you know, and you're like, I just want to make more money, and your boss is like, you're consistent, you show up every time, you're great with customers, I'm going to put you in a management position because that's like that's the only thing I can give you to move up. And then you're just horrible at delegating.
Exactly.
Like, you can't bring the team together, you're just bad at it. But I'm like, well, you didn't pick him because he's a good manager. Those weren't the skills that you tested him for. You tested him on being a waiter.
Yeah.
You know?
Like lead waiter or something.
Right.
But it's true because, and that's what happens in companies too.
Right.
I feel like is like the general like progression of what you would be next would be, okay, now you manage a team.
Yeah.
Like, you're a really great worker. You work really hard. You show up. You put in extra time. You put in extra effort. You get your projects done before the deadline. Whatever. All these things that like tick the check boxes, and then somebody's like, the next progression would be now you manage a team.
Sure.
Most people are not good at managing teams. And even people who get into management positions that, like, I even personally know, they're like, I don't even do the job that I like anymore. Yeah, because, like, what they loved about it was the job itself. Yeah. But when you become in a management position, now your only job is to manage people. All you do is give people what you used to love about work. You know what I mean? Like, same with, like, restaurant manager or whatever. It's like... Yeah. Now, what you used to love was dealing with the customers and, like, talking to the tables and doing the order, like, all that kind of stuff. And, like, now you just sit back and you don't even do that. Like, you're just delegating, like, time and people to do things.
Like in corporate structures, they're like, you gotta go rise to the ranks. And then you're the CFO. And then you're like, all right, I'm the next line to be the CEO. I'm like, first of all, those are, like, two completely different
when they do
characteristics. Like, a CFO is, like, numbers and black and white and analytical. And a CEO is, like, charismatic and
colorful.
A visionary.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, he's the person or she's the person who leads and, like, gathers and, like, inspires. And a CFO is a person who's like, hardline, fire this whole left side. We can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't even think about the people. I'm just it's so odd.
Anyway. It is. No, it is in corporate structure. I think there's, like, something missing in there.
Yeah.
Which is that there should be some type of, or people just need to accept the fact that, like, they don't want to manage people. And maybe you can still get paid more by, like, doing a better job or something. I don't know. Yeah.
You just can't.
It's hard.
But it's built to be, like, the only way to inspire your lower level workers on every level below CEO is be like, hey, if you're here long enough,
you'll get a team.
You'll get up here and you'll get up here. And I'm like, that's just a crappy way to inspire.
However, I'll say this. If you have a really good boss who can form you into a really good employee and make you, think, you know, in a way that maybe you didn't think before. Think about working with other people, how to work with other people, how to communicate with other people, how to communicate with your team well, because your boss is actively, like, embodying showing that, and like, teaching that in a way by acting that way, but also maybe even actually, like, teaching their employees, you know, like, hey, I see you're having an issue with this person, and talking to them about how they can talk to that person so that, you know what I'm saying? Sure. And then you actually form good people who you can then put in a position to manage a team. Yeah, no, it's just like, if you're always being led by a shoddy person, you're going to end up being a shoddy boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you need both. You need someone who you can emulate, and then you need to be open to doing that.
Yes, that too. And removing the ego and being like, okay, I'm willing to learn. Right. And I'm also willing to meet people where they are. Yeah. I think most people are just like,
For sure. I think we'll do one more of this, and then we'll get back to talking about what's like working with us.
Just say it. What was the next thing you were going to say? You're going to say one more thing, and then we'll get back to working together. I know this podcast is kind of like zing-zang all over the place.
I was going to say, I think one of the biggest differences of why I do well leading is because I only care about the outcome. Like, I don't care about the credit for the outcome. I don't care who, like, the praise or any of that nonsense. I don't care who gets the credit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or whose idea it was. Mm-hmm. I only care about the outcome. Yeah. Which makes it so, like, I feel like I can talk to anybody.
I agree.
At any level. Yeah. Because all I care is that they produce the result.
The thing is getting done.
I want them to produce. Yeah. That's it. I don't care if I say one thing over here to one person and it's the completely opposite over here, because that's what each one needs to hear. You know? I don't care if, like, I give someone the idea And they're like, they're like, hey, this is my idea, and they run with it. I'll be like, that was a great idea, good job. Yeah. I do not care. All I care is about the outcome.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll usually lower myself to be almost seemingly stupid, like asking questions and like kind of naive and being like, oh, I'm not really sure, you know, to get the other person like to really dive deeper into their own thought process. And so they can run with it, you know? Like, I just don't care.
That it's their own
idea.
So
it's theirs, right.
Yeah. And then rather than you telling them what to do, it's them telling you, I'm going to do this. And you're like, that's a great idea. You got to do that. Like
even like when I used to give like recipe ideas to my chefs and when the owner of the company would come in, I'd be like, that was him. He came up with this whole thing by himself. And he would just like run it like it was his. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter because what matters is the outcome.
Result. That's all I care. Result only.
Progress over everything.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, but back to work. Yeah, sorry that this kind of just took a little turn, but working together. I don't even know what else I want to say about working together.
Well, I will say, we can talk, we can talk about it a little bit. It's funny now, first of all, I'll say what I was going to say. When everyone's always like, oh, it's weird you guys work together, or you guys... It's more weird that we are together as a couple than that we work together. Because I think having opposing dynamics, like opposing personalities, opposing strengths, mostly mine.
You're about to give both of them some disrespect. A lot of shade getting thrown this way. Just kidding.
But that actually will cover all of our blind spots and allow us to, I think it'll allow us to grow exponentially over time.
No, I actually think that it's one of our strengths is that we're so different in business, sure. Specifically as a business partner, because we don't step on each other's toes in business because we both have different strengths. It's not like either of us I want to do that, I want to do that. It's like, okay, I know that this is what you're the best person for this. You're like, I know you're the best person for this. And it's like, we have such clear lines because the other person doesn't ever want to come into the other person's lane. And with that, we both think in such different ways that I feel like when we have a problem, we're like, okay, I look at it from one way, you look at it from a completely different way, and we end up coming up with the best possible solution. Versus, I feel like if we were the same, we'd both be not butting heads, we'd be hitting our head against the wall because we'd be coming up with the same ideas, we'd be coming up with the same solutions. Versus, I'm like, this is a solution, and then we blend our solutions. Okay, now what's the best way to take both of those and make it the best possible outcome? So I do feel in business it actually does work for us. And even when I listen to other founder stories and stuff like that,
that partner is usually the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm it's literally like us. It's very one person's very black and white, one person's very analytical, one person's very clear-minded, and then the other person's the more creative. The other person's a little bit more
chaotic.
Yeah, which is me.
Yes.
And you know,
delusional.
It's just the other person's the dreamer.
The dreamer, yeah.
The other person's the dreamer, and one person's the realistic one. And you need both of them. You need the one person who's who has those big dreams and can have those big ideas and be we're going to do this, this, and this. And then the person who's the realist person's okay, those are all great ideas, but these are what we can implement right now to get to that place. Yeah. And I feel in that way we're actually really good in business together. For sure. But yeah, in relationship-wise, I do think
it's horrible.
Yeah. I do think it's funny. I think people are eh.
Yeah, me
when
too.
they meet us,
I wonder as well.
What? You wonder about our relationship?
I wonder how it has worked. So I would likely guess it's because I just work so much.
Oh, no, that's why we work?
That, it doesn't conflict as much as it should, you know? No, it's true.
Dirty.
I think it's true, you know? I think if we spent more time together, it'd probably conflict a lot more.
No, because when we used to spend all of our time together, we never had conflict.
Yeah, but it was after long periods of not spending time together, so.
But we would still spend all of our time together.
It was honeymooning all the time.
Yeah, we still spend all of our time together.
Yeah.
Literally all of our time together. And we were totally good.
When?
When we were both working for ourselves.
Yeah, we did spend a lot of time. But that's what I was saying.
That was
literally
after 3 years
every
of
single
almost
moment
never seeing. And the first summer we met, we spent every single waking moment together.
The honeymoon phase. That's what I'm saying. We had a honeymoon phase. 3 years of me basically working every day, except for half a day. And then we had this honeymoon phase, and then our daughter was born.
Yeah. Nobody's going to be with their partner 24/7. Unless until you retire or something.
I was just saying maybe that's why I work so much. I think over time, too, I've just let a lot more go.
Where I become more like you. Somebody was like,
Both.
I
It's
posted
both.
something about like OCD, and somebody was like, you gotta look at the roots, and I'm like, I know the roots. I never had OCD until I met Shane. I can pinpoint when I started having OCD.
Do you know what that tells me? That just tells me it's the better way.
No,
You wouldn't do it if it didn't feel better.
No,
you wouldn't be organized and structured if it didn't feel better.
You've now given me.
No, you just do it the way you want it.
Disorder, and I hate it.
Everything has a place.
That's
so nice.
That's what it is.
Because then when you go look for it,
I'm like,
it's there. It's so nice. Isn't it so nice?
I mean, yes, but no. Because then I'm like real stressed when it's not like that. I'm like, it's wrong. This is wrong. I'm just gonna fix it. Okay. That's how I feel when I'm like when other people are around. I'm like putting things in the wrong place. I'm like,
right.
listen,
Because it's better.
That doesn't go there. That goes exactly.
You're just proving my point.
Well, yeah, no. There's things that like I'm like, I've lived with Shane for too long. I'm becoming more like
this is horrible.
And you're like, me too, because this is horrible. I'm becoming more like Holly.
I don't think I'm becoming more like you. I just think I've just
let go.
I've just been like 90% of this. I'm just gonna not think about. The 10%, which is the 10% you keep organized, is all I really care about.
All you care about is organization.
It's good enough.
That's all you care about.
Organization with the things we use every day.
You're like, that's all I need to just stay happy in a relationship.
And I'll be stable. I'll just be stable.
Organization, and my life will be okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Our relationship wise is funny, but we have similar, like, I think what actually keeps us together is that we have like very similar morals and values.
Now.
And always have. When have we not?
In the beginning.
Like in the honeymooners phase? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like our first couple of years.
Our first couple of years?
Yeah.
What did we have differently?
Everything?
No. The only thing when we first met was like you were super Christian and I wasn't.
Drugs and alcohol.
True.
I'm a very serious, hardcore person. You were not.
Yeah. Still not, though.
Still not.
Yeah.
This is true. You're a little more sometimes. You go through waves.
I'm pretty not serious.
I meant like with your ability.
With my hardcoreness, I'm definitely hardcore, but I've always been hardcore.
To focus.
I've always been hardcore in my own personal way.
Sure.
Just not your hardcore.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, but I feel like our morals and our values.
Our religion was different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our religion, for sure. That was like the biggest.
Religion,
I'd say that was
drugs,
the biggest difference.
alcohol.
When we first met, though, but even like you said, like that phase is kind of like your honeymoon phase.
Sure. That like kind of stayed for a little while.
Not really, because I stopped smoking and stopped drinking a lot when we got together. Especially when we moved to California.
Slowly weeded out. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like I was never like an alone smoke. I mean, I smoked sometimes alone, but I was never like an alone drinker.
But you can still go out and drink sometimes.
Yeah, but like it wasn't like a thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I feel like I just because also once you get in a relationship, it's like you're gonna want to do whatever. Like you're gonna want to hang out with your partner.
Sure. I'm just saying there was differences.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we're more aligned.
But just because those are differences doesn't mean that our morals and values weren't aligned.
Yeah.
You know? Just because I drank and smoked and like partied.
Well, not drinking was like a moral for me.
Yeah. But I'd say the majority of our morals and values aligned. And they've definitely like obviously like over time, and I think like once we like obviously we're in a relationship together, and then once we had kids, I think they like solidified like these are the things that are important. These are like most important for us, you know.
I feel like after Sage, that's when that happened.
What? That they like really solidified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me personally. Anyway.
Anyways, welcome to our therapy
session. I was about to say, this feels like therapy. It's rough.
Welcome to our therapy session.
Jeez.
What's it like working together? Grill me all night.
I'm just kidding. Told you I was just gonna. I told you I was gonna bring the heat. I was like, this is what we're talking about. Game over. I was gonna say it's funny. Like thinking now, I'm like, oh, working together is great. Like it's very simple. We have like good structure most of the time. I think we still have minor conflicts that you're becoming more on my side on. Like time commitment as you're like. I think that's the one thing we probably have fought the most about.
For sure.
Was like how much time I believe we should spend on the business and how much time you believe we should spend on the business. Yeah. I think that was the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
And I think this year we're finally.
I'm like super focused.
We're finally coming to like a better
ground. Yeah, like even ground where we both are in the same place. I agree. I think that was probably the biggest thing for the two of us. That's like kind of carried through all the years.
Right, like I feel like
everything else has slowly
it's like chipped
fallen
and
into place.
Exactly. And then that was like the biggest one where it's like, but like I think from day one I'm very hardcore and serious. I'm like business. Like nothing matters other than like getting to where we need to go.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not like that at all.
For sure.
You're like, I'm still gonna have all my fun and build this $1 billion brand. That's my dumb face, if you couldn't tell.
if you're listening to this on podcast.
That was me staring off in space.
Like, no,
with ditzy eyes.
No. I am, but I feel like this year I am like super.
For sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we talked about this like last year, the year before that, I think it would be way more harsh.
Yeah.
Like there'd be more things.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't even think about those things anymore. Like I don't think about like all of the nonsense we had to get through to get to like this year where we feel very stable.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like we were just saying this, but like our energy around our business dictates how well our business is doing, obviously. But like I feel like because we're so and like how you were saying, you're like I feel like we'll be super focused and then I'll get like distracted by something, or I'll want to be doing something else, or I'll go off and be doing something else, or like my focus will like swing. And then, like, the business dips, like, as my focus swings. And then my focus comes back and the business, like, rises again. It's like,
it's true.
I need to stay really, like, energy-wise, like, needs to stay, like, super just focused on the business. Because, like, I feel like the energy is what's, like, pulling in the opportunities and, like, the success and, like, the growth of the business.
Yeah. And, like, your focus, which brings your energy. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. This year I'm committed. Because I also realize, like, I can look at my own self now. Like, I feel like before it would have been hard for me to look at that because I didn't want to admit it, you know? But I feel like I can look at that now and be like, okay, it's very clear that, like, when I'm not focused on the business starts to, like, slip. Right. The business starts to not do as well. And then when I, like, come back to focus on it, I'm like, okay, the business is doing good again. And it's like, I am the only person, the only reason if the business is growing or not, because I'm, like, the one who's, like, putting like content out, who's like talking with our community, like all you're doing, like not all, but what you do is make bars. You're so behind the scenes. It doesn't matter. You could be making 1 million bars, but if there's not 1 million bars to be made, it doesn't really matter if you're fucking there making bars. Like if I'm not in front of like the camera, you know, if I'm not like in front of our community or possible new customers or whatever it is, then like, yeah, nothing's happening. Like who are we talking to? You know what I mean? Who are we capturing?
I also think it's a double whammy because when you lose focus, our business dips and then my energy usually just plummets because I get so angry.
Yeah.
Like even if I don't say anything, I just radiate like frustration.
Yeah.
And that just makes, I think, our dynamic worse and then our business goes even further down.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the energy thing again.
Yeah.
Which that's why I was like, okay, I can like recognize that now. I know we're a couple years into it.
It just ate. It's okay. Just ate.
But I'm really focused this year. I'm committed. And like for ongoing, you know. Yeah. I feel like I'm like also just in a really good place mentally, emotionally. Could be better physically, but with our kids. Better physically. Yeah, I'm getting better physically. Could be better. But like in a good rhythm with our kids, in a good rhythm with like homeschool, in a good rhythm with like we should do an episode on that.
What? On like what you had to do to get to that point, you know? Getting into this like good rhythm.
Yeah. We could do an episode on that.
If you want to.
Yeah, we could do an episode on that.
I'm just curious.
Because you want to know. What you're gonna say. You want to know? Yeah.
I'm just curious what you're going to say.
And I feel like, anyways, but I just feel like that also shifted me to be able to be like, okay, like, everything else is good. What's, like, the one thing that you, like, keep on kind of slacking on? It's kind of fucked up to say, but it was the business. Like, I would just keep on, like...
For sure.
Not doing it, like, as... Not putting my 100% effort into it all the time.
I always felt like it was never a priority for me.
Yeah.
And it's, like, I changed my entire life to make it a priority, you know?
Yeah. So I'm like, this year, it is my priority. After our kids.
Well...
Obviously.
We have no choice.
Yeah. Obviously. Anyways.
What's it like working with me? You didn't say.
Huh? That's horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I just said...
I would hate to work with me.
No, I love working with you. You're my favorite boss I've ever had.
I'm not your boss, that's fine.
You're my favorite equal I've ever had.
I'm still not your equal.
How are you not?
I'm one notch below you.
How are you one notch below me? We are equals.
You're the CEO.
Well...
I'm just the COO.
Yeah. I had a dream once that, like, I think I woke up and told you I had a dream once that I like needed we were in this giant like manufacturing building, this huge building. All these people were coming to me with questions of like all these things to do, and I was getting like super stressed. I was like, I can't do it. So I asked you, I'm like, can you be the CEO? I don't want to do it anymore. Like, and he just started taking over. I was like, phew, I feel so much better. And then I woke up and told Shane, I'm like, that's 100% gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna be like, too much responsibility. Like, I just can't do it. The responsibility. Like, I can't do it. And then you're gonna take it over.
That's funny.
So, or I'm just gonna hold the CEO, but like, you're still gonna make low-key decisions. Like, I'm just not like.
I think one person has to have the permission to be like the bottom line, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I hope that we build a business where we actually have like a table of people of importance, and like we're all discussing this together.
For sure.
You know, and we agree as a team. Like, that would be my ideal vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't expect it to be on our way, but I think there always has to be the one person, kind of like the president, basically.
Yeah.
Where like everyone have their opinion, we all agree with this, but every now and then, like if war breaks out, like you're the one who hits the button.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's just got to be the one person. I don't care who has the permission, whoever's the most tactical, but like one person always has to be like, I'm overriding everything right now. Like, this is it.
Yeah.